Maybe about right there.
Right here?
And are we live? Yeah, right there. Oh my gosh, we are live. Hey, Gene Galin, Victor Hensley, right? Hensley. Forget about the M. It's Hensley. The Chatham News Record. We got Simon off to the side. He does not want to be in this. He's like, hey, I'm just here to take pictures. I know nothing about sports, but he takes pretty decent pictures. But anyway, we're going to talk about Chatham County sports. What's going on? This is the Northwood versus JM football game. You said, hey, you don't want to really talk because we really haven't seen them play. I saw Northwood play last week. They played Friday night, Saturday.
I want to know your impressions of last week. Because I heard some things. Heard it wasn't the prettiest thing in the world. But I want to hear, you were there, you were on the boots on the ground. I want to hear.
Boots on the ground. Okay, honestly, Friday night, I've gotten to the point in my career that I hate standing out in the cold rain. Thunder and lightning came, and I'm like, man, I am out of here. And they were down, I don't know by how much in the beginning of the second quarter. I left at about 10 o'clock. They called it off, came back on Saturday, and Northwood scored 0-0. It was 62-0. Running clock starts, and Simon and I learned this last week. I knew this already, but you kind of forget this because you don't get to see this very often. At 42 points, they start a running clock. But they don't start it in the first half. It only starts till the second half. And we hit 42-0 in the first half. It was that bad. Coach Hamoka, not happy at all. We'll see if they get retribution today against JM. But you did an article on the JM coach, didn't you?
Yeah, Ryan Johnson. Yeah,
Tell us about Ryan Johnson.
He's an awesome guy, first of all. Played here 21 years ago. I think it's when he graduated, class of 2000.
All right.
He's happy to be back, you can tell. I think he's really trying to turn around the program. I mean, this is a program that hasn't had a winning season in 10 years.
Did they win the game last year?
No, 0-7.
0-7, okay, yes.
Yeah,
and that COVID year too, by the way.
So 0-7 last year, 0-1 so far. They lost 45-0 last week.
All right.
Not too shabby, or not too good.
So we got two teams, 0-0.
Yeah, it wasn't too hot. But I think he's really trying to turn things around. He, like I said, this program hasn't had a winning season since 2011, which is not too hot. And you can just tell, I think his main thing is like, I want to change this culture here, make this feel like a winning culture, make it feel like it did 20 years ago back when he played. So,
now, did you get to see that game, or you just kind of followed that game?
I just kind of followed. I didn't get to make it out there.
All right. I will say I got to see JM play at the Simon and I were out for the Jamboree, the Jack Shannon Jamboree, and Northwood. And when you're out taking pictures on the sidelines, you get to overhear things. One of the things the coach had mentioned to his JM players is, I want to see effort. And the other thing he stressed is you don't just do effort. We may get knocked over, but no, we didn't get knocked over by a football player. It's all right. The camera can handle it. You want to show effort not just on the football player on the field, but also in life. And you want to show JM pride. And I think that goes back to what you were saying about he wants to bring back that pride because JM football really hasn't been that good.
20 years ago, it was pretty good over here. And the last, decade, 2 decades hasn't really been there. So, I mean, and this is a guy, he played at Elon, I believe. So, I mean, he's a really, really good player while he was here. So, I mean, he knows how to win. He knows how to, be a good player on the football field. And I think he really, kind of like you mentioned, his main thing is he wants to see, like, heart. He wants to see effort. He wants to be disciplined. It almost seems like he's like, you know what, all the stuff on the field is great, but the main stuff is off the field. I want you to be good men. I want you to really have, I have a lot of good qualities when you actually leave JM and like actually do something, good with your life. And I think that's what he's really about. But I mean, I really do think he can turn his program around.
And the thing is, I've covered games out here for a bunch of years. Right now, the stands, it's like 20 minutes before the game starts, and the stands are not very full. I think there's more Northwood people here than JM people, which is unusual. But again, when you're 0-7, it's sometimes you got to get people excited. Speaking about coaches, I think there's another coach on the horizon that kind of has that same feeling about effort and working hard, not just for the football team, for your life, but the Seafort coach. What's your impression of him?
And for football?
Yeah, for football. I think you interviewed him too, didn't you?
Yeah, Terrence Carey. Yeah,
Terrence.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy too. If you're talking about one guy who's like, he's like all business, but he's also kind of funny. He's got like the personality where he's like, he wants to he wants him to grind it out. He wants him to be so good, but then on the side he's like, yeah, but he's making jokes and stuff like that. So I mean, he's a really cool guy. And I think, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. But Seafort they're going to have some growing pains. They got 9th and 10th graders there. A lot of them have not played a football game. all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
actually, only 2. I asked him. He only had 2 players that ever played high school football.
Because obviously middle school football in Chatham County is not where it needs to be.
Doesn't
at
exist.
All. So, right. So, I think Seafort is going to have probably a couple of years where they're not too hard all the time. And, obviously they're trying to, grow something there. But I think, just like Ryan Johnson, I think he really is some guy who wants to lead the program. I think that's one thing I love about some of the Chatham County coaches here is, like, they're so passionate about what they do. Like, I've been around some coaches in my, career where they're kind of interested, but kind of not. It's like one, it's kind of a hot and cold thing with them. But we've got coaches here, especially in football, and Coach Milk is kind of the same way. But they're just like, I want to see this team succeed. I want to see the program succeed, and I want to, build something here. And I think Terrence Gary being there, at Seafort, first year ever, having a football program, first year ever doing anything. Like, I think he clearly wants to do something good. I think they've got a chance here, building something here for the next couple of years.
Do you know who Gary Coleman is?
Yeah, the little guy?
Yeah, the little guy.
Yeah.
See, speaking about Coach Gary goes, yeah. I go, how do you spell your last name? It goes like Gary Coleman. I'm like, oh man, some people may not remember the little guy, but that's how he reminded them.
I don't know how you can forget him.
I know. Well, some people aren't big enough. Seafort Soccer, they got beat twice by Northwood. Again, freshmen and sophomores against juniors and seniors. Seafort volleyball got beat last night 3 matches to 0, and they first match at Seafort they got beat. Again, we've talked about this. You're just gonna see that at Seafort this year.
Yeah, and that's just part of it. Yeah. I mean, it's hard being a parent there or a fan of Seafort, but it's just like when you start a school like that, you start all the programs from scratch. Like, you're obviously gonna have, like I said, some growing pains. Like, you're not gonna win a bunch of games right out the gate. Like, it's just not gonna happen when you have 9th and 10th graders out there. But I think when those 9th and 10th graders are juniors and seniors, like, that's gonna be exciting to see. So we'll see.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You parents, the ones that have been around, and I've mentioned this before, if you remember Carborough, they started out the same way, and they were getting killed, but by the time they hit that junior and senior year, things got turned around. We don't make predictions here, but what's your impression of what's going to happen in tonight's game? Or are we just going to learn a bunch of stuff?
I think we're going to learn a lot. I think it's actually going to be a pretty close game. Honestly, I really do. I don't know the last time I meant to go back and look at this. I don't know if they've ever done it. I mean, at least not in the last couple decades, whether, JM has beaten Northwood anytime recently. But I think, it's going to be a good game. I think both teams are pretty evenly matched from what I've seen. So I don't know. I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't want to make predictions, but I think it's going to be fun.
All right, folks, that's the roundup. If you're interested in this, we're going to continue doing this. We enjoy doing it. It's a quick fix as to what's going on in Chatham County High School sports. By the way, coming up next week in the Chatham News and Record, comes out on Wednesday. Besides writing about this game, what else are you going to be writing about?
Yeah, we're going to have cross-country stuff. There was a big meet yesterday with pretty much all the Chatham County schools.
All right.
We got some volleyball stuff coming up, some Siler City football club stuff coming up. Just a lot of stuff going on. So.
Last thing, JM Soccer. You covered that. How'd that go?
That went well. I mean, that was a 4-1 win for JM. That's Josh Harris right there, the AD. And
they're fist bumping.
Yeah,
They're that close. Boom. Okay. Do I get a fist bump? No. Do you get a fist bump? Yes, because he was at the game.
It was exactly. See? No, but it was their season opener against Northwood. Did really, really well. It was 1-1 at halftime.
Wait a minute. I hate to interrupt. What kind of hat are you wearing?
The Chatham News and Record.
He's got himself a Chatham News and Record. I've been trying to tell these guys, if I can get a Chatham Journal hat, he can get a Chatham News and Record.
I don't know who designed it, but they're fresh. So
they're
happy.
Fresh. It's that big C. I don't know if that's good. Maybe he should have gone for an A, but that's a scarlet letter. Look it up in your history, literary class. I'm sorry for interrupting. We were talking again the soccer.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was JM season opener. They came out, scored 3 goals there in the second half to take it 4-1. It was actually really fun. They had a couple lightning delays. That was the day before you guys experienced all the lightning stuff last week. So, I mean, it was fun. And I think they're both teams, Northwood and JM, are going to be really, really good in soccer this year.
So they got a chance to do pretty well throughout the entire season.
Definitely. They're a playoff team last year. I think they're going to probably be another playoff team.
Yeah, JM, as most folks in this area know, do pretty well every year. So we'll see what happens this year. Folks, thanks for listening. We got to go. It's 15 minutes. The Northwood team's here. Simon's getting ready to take some pictures, and they got some smoke blowing over there. I don't know if that's a fire or they're getting ready for the entrance. Thank you very much, and check us back in. You can't miss Victor's paper. Wednesday, Chatham Record, News and Record comes out sometime between the morning and the evening, depending which part of the county you're living in. Thank you for listening.